They were $1,000 a piece, is what the TA in Florida had them priced at. I told him I used to pay through LCAP, and I asked him who has the best, like who do they give the best tire discounts to. One of the ways I was just testing his temperature was I asked him, well, if I've got these dynamic wheel balancers, do I even need you to balance these? If you ask a question and somebody tells you a really certain answer, you know they're not a very trustworthy person. And this was a first for me. They bought my tires, my old tires, from me. Out here at the TA in Eloy. Still behind the, same, I got 2 steers replaced yesterday. It's the next morning. We're over by the Little Sisters truck wash. I'm kind of backed up. My Little Sister's back there behind me. But this TA, I was impressed with their shop here. They did a good job. They got me in quick, and anytime I'm at a truck stop shop, I always ask a bunch of questions of the technician. Not because I need to know the answers, because I need to know who's working on the truck. And so I'll just ask them random questions, just to kind of test their temperature and see what kind of knowledge they have. Or, just make conversation kind of thing. And I could tell when I pulled in, I started talking to this guy here at the service, at the shop. And I called him. I didn't just come straight over. I called him when I was at the Loves. I called them and just checked if they had the tires, and I was kind of halfway starting to figure out if they were going to be flexible on pricing and just what the pricing was and everything. I don't think they're flexible on prices on tires. I think that's just a fixed thing. But I did talk to them about tire discounts and stuff. They don't, they gave me, I got 2 Bridgestones, 285, 75, 24.5s, so low pro 24.5s. There are 213 Bridgestones. These are 16 ply, or H. H would be the label on them. I got them for $750 a piece. They were normally just, I think he said a little over 900 a piece. So, and that price included, whatever they normally do, the balancing and, the guy spent some time. So my truck took a year off. It's been sitting out in the drop lot for a year, and I'd go out and crank it up weekly just to get things moving around. But I didn't always move. I didn't drive it around the lot. I wasn't blowing tires. I wasn't changing tires. So he told me I came and checked on him after, about 45 minutes or so, because he said just give him an hour, he'd be done. I went and checked on it, about 45 minutes to see where he was at, and he had an angle grinder on the inside of my wheels, and he said he was getting the rust off. I was like, you're getting the rust off of aluminum wheels? But so your wheels are aluminum, but they're pressed up against your drums that are steel. And if you know anything about about that combination. Like aluminum and steel don't like to be. You try to weld some aluminum to some steel, it doesn't work. You gotta. So, and normally if you're mating those two surfaces, you'll have like some type of layer of like a little thin, some material that will prevent those two metals from, getting too close. It's like oil and water. They don't really mix well together. Except when aluminum and steel are together. I mean, I'm sure it would be terrible if you put an aluminum, or if you put let's say you had an aluminum casting or something, and you screwed and it was threaded, so it was a tapped hole. It wasn't something where you're going straight through it, and you like screwed a steel bolt into an aluminum casting. That would be real bad. That thing would corrode in a hurry. But he was doing that. You could just tell he did a good job. He was doing a good job, and he cared about his job. And this is a training center, so I assume that this one's better than, it's better than some of the other ones. I mean, all I had was 2 steer tires done, but I would say this is probably the best experience I've had at a TA or Petro. I've had pretty good, Carl's Corner down there, near Waco. I think I've had a pretty good experiences there. Trying to think what other ones. I mean, there's been a few. I mean, there's good people at all these different truck stops, and you could, I mean, who knows, it could be a mechanic he's about to own his own shop and he's just getting started, but within the next 3 years he's going to be like the superstar mechanic of the whole town. But he's getting his start at TA or Petro or Love's, or any of them. So you never know who you'll run into in these places. But $750, that was my price per tire. They were normally $900. But I also got they balanced them. They did add some weights to and I have the dynamic balancers on all my tires, or on all my wheels, or drums, whatever. They sit in between the drums and the wheels. I've got those, one with the little BBs or pellets. And I asked him, one of the ways I was just testing his temperature was I asked him, well, if I've got these dynamic wheel balancers, do I even need you to balance these? That was just an easy thing to, just see what he was going to say. But he did recommend, but he wasn't firm on it, so that's how I knew he was, he wasn't just going to BS me. He said, well, I would recommend it, but, those do help. So he wasn't like just going to tell me one thing, because most things in life aren't, like, they're not black and white. Most things, it's like, if you ask a question and somebody tells you a really certain answer, they're not a very trustworthy person. Most all answers to any questions should start with, well, it depends. So, or just, if you're looking to do this, if this is the most important thing to you, I mean, anybody that just gives you a real confident, like, yes or no answer to something, they probably hadn't been around too long. They hadn't been doing whatever they're doing too long, or they're not an expert on the matter. But so I asked the service manager. So I told him last time I bought these tires was with LCAP, and these were the exact same tires. So when I bought them with LCAP, they were $1,000. The tires were more expensive. Now I got them in Florida, but same exact tires, Bridgestone R213s. I think they're all positions, but They were $1,000 a piece, is what the TA in Florida had them priced at. LCAP got them for $600 a piece. I just paid $750, which included the balancing price, and maybe Landstars did too. I don't remember if I paid TA separate on top of what Landstar the tires were at that time. I think Landstar paid for everything. Landstar doesn't pay for anything. You always pay for it. They'll just bill you on your next settlement. I don't know if y'all can see it, but these birds are like having a pretty good time out in the parking lot. They'll be in one big group, and then they'll just separate. They were in two separate groups there for a second, and now they're all landing. I wonder if there's like a leader that tells all them other birds what to do, or if it's like the one behind the guy in front, he just follows him, and the one behind him follows him. They're all in a line. They better move. That truck's gonna run over them. So they're hanging out on the ground over there by them trucks. That's weird. I mean, they're probably really happy that they're in Arizona right now. I'm happy I'm in Arizona. Because I narrowly missed I did get into some ice. The whole truck was covered in ice there for a little bit, but it didn't affect driving or anything. It was just, I didn't even realize it. And then when I got a little further south into New Mexico, all this ice started breaking off the truck. And it just was like hitting the windshield. It was breaking off my mirrors and the front of my hood, like the grill area, and some of it would fly up and hit the windshield, and it was coming off of the sun visor, stuff like that. But I asked the guy, I was like, "What is the, I told him I used to pay through LCAP." And I asked him who has the best, who do they give the best tire discounts to? Who gets the best price when they come in and buy tires? And he said CR England. So, and I've already talked to CR England. I guess I'm going to sign up for their tire program. At first I thought you had to be a carrier with them. You had to be, I would never haul CR England freight because I would just don't like them. I don't haul anything they would haul, or I've never seen a CR England load show up on my load alerts. So, but I talked to a girl at CR England, and she's, this was back, I think this was before I even got my IFTA. When I got sidelined by Landstar, I was just doing everything as soon as possible. I wanted to get my authority in one day. So I was doing everything all at once. So I'd already talked to CR England before I even had my IFTA and, stuff in. But so I'll probably do that. If you know of a tire program, I'll buy them. I normally buy them through Southern Tire Mart. Is who I normally get to do tire work for me. And I always carry two spares. If I get down to one spare, I start to get a little anxious. But I think it's because I've been driving slower. I haven't blown a steer tire. I've had 3 of these loads in a row and have not blown a single, or haven't blown a trailer tire. And I looked at them yesterday when I was getting my steers done, and it was only one of the steers that was bad, but I don't do, if I'm stopped somewhere, I don't ever do one of them. I always do both. The only time I'll ever do one is if I blow it if I'm on the side of the road. And unfortunately, I have been in that situation twice. And the price on the tires, that also included, this was the first for me, they bought my tires, my old tires from me. So they paid me $200. And I ask every shop, how much can I get for my tires? How much do you want to pay me for my tires? And they all say, we'll look at them. And after they look at them, it's always, oh, is this problem or that problem? They don't ever come up with anything. And that's another reason I really trust this TA, is because they looked at them and they actually paid me they took $200 off the price tag. And they gave me a discount for buying two of them at the same time. So I don't know what my price would have been if I had the CR England tire program. But I'm curious to know. Well, if you use the CR England program, I'm curious to know how good your prices are, and if there's another tire program out there. I think my fuel card, I've got some kind of tire program and repair program on my fuel card. I guess I could have saved more money, but I didn't even think about it yesterday. I need to look into it. The fuel card I use, it's the Expediter card. They've got a tire program that's just included with your fuel card, and then they've got a separate gold tire thing that's it's a separate deal. And I didn't do that, but because I normally always just buy them at Southern Tire Mart. I'd check them and I'd get them replaced before they get too bad. I try not to end up on the shoulder. So I was editing a video